Episode 1. The Unlikely Heiress. The world was watching, though none could yet foresee the figure who would captivate it for decades. Imagine being born into a kingdom where your very existence could mean death for your mother and uncertainty for yourself. In 1533, Elizabeth came into this precarious stage, daughter of King Henry VIII and Anne Boleyn, an infant whose smile could charm a court, yet whose life was born into danger and political intrigue. Her mother, Anne, was already at odds with a king desperate for a male heir, a woman whose wit and ambition made her both beloved and feared. And when Elizabeth was just 2, the unthinkable happened. Anne was executed, beheaded in the Tower of London, leaving the young girl an orphan in the eyes of the court. Yet it was in these shadowed beginnings that the fire of Elizabeth's resilience was first kindled. Elizabeth's childhood was marked by uncertainty, oscillating between the favor of her father and the cold distance of the court. Declared illegitimate after her mother's fall, Elizabeth could easily have faded into history as just another pawn in the dangerous Tudor game. But she did not. From the earliest days, she learned lessons that would shape a queen. Survival depends on intelligence, composure, and a sharp mind. Unlike many girls of her time, Elizabeth received an education fit for a king. Tutors and scholars instructed her in Latin, Greek, French, Italian, philosophy, and the classics. She memorized histories of empires, strategies of rulers, and the intricacies of diplomacy. By the time she was a teenager, Elizabeth could converse fluently in several languages, recite poetry, and debate points of statecraft, a skill set unmatched by many of the men who would later claim to be her peers in courtly influence. But brilliance alone was not enough. Elizabeth learned quickly that appearances were as important as intellect. She understood that grace, charm, and the ability to read others' intentions could protect her as much as sword or armor. Every courtly ball, every whispered conversation in the corridors of Whitehall, was a lesson in human psychology and power. By observing those who wielded influence, she discerned patterns of loyalty, betrayal, and ambition. She began to cultivate her own persona, someone approachable yet untouchable, clever yet restrained. Her early life also introduced her to the harsh realities of religious conflict. England, split between Catholicism and Protestantism, was a landscape fraught with danger. Elizabeth's family history was interwoven with this tension. Her mother's execution was partly a product of religious and political maneuvering. Elizabeth understood that survival required navigating these volatile waters with both strategy and subtlety. She learned patience, the art of holding back, and the power of timing. By the time she reached adolescence, Elizabeth was no longer simply a princess in exile. She was a student of power, a strategist in miniature, observing the world around her with an intelligence that few could match. Every insult, every slight, every moment of danger became a building block for the ruler she would one day become. From illegitimacy to exile within her own family home, she transformed vulnerability into strength, crafting an inner armor that would serve her for the rest of her life. Lesson of the episode: even in circumstances that seem hopeless, cultivating knowledge, emotional intelligence, and adaptability can transform vulnerability into strength. Elizabeth's early years teach us that hardship is not a barrier, but a forge in which resilience is shaped. If you thought that was exciting, wait until you hear how Elizabeth turned the tables on those who had written her off, stepping into the throne room to claim her destiny in a kingdom teetering on the edge of chaos.